I'm delighted to welcome today Chris Murray, who is a healer with a difference. So welcome, Chris.
Hello, Elaine. Lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
So I introduced you with a strange thing that hopefully will get the listeners interested. Why are you different? I mean, I've introduced so many different therapists and healers and trainers and goodness knows what via the podcast. But what you do is quite different, isn't it? So let's talk about what you do and why you do what you do.
I offer lots of services, but the thing that I'm going to talk to you about today is basically the weight loss program, or weight release program, as I like to call it, that I've put together after years of myself yo-yo dieting, being diagnosed with an underactive thyroid, was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, initially had to go on medication, but I don't take any of that now. And basically just getting myself back in balance helped me to release the weight. It's a mindset-based weight release course that I go through with people. And basically there's lots of things that go on in your subconscious that can keep you hanging on to that weight, or yo-yo dieting, releasing it all to put it back on and more, all those sorts of things. So it's not for people who can, easily control their weight and they know what to do and they drop a size and that's it. It's more about those people who really struggled, as I did for years.
Brilliant. You mentioned just then about holding on to things. So, we do tend to hold on, don't we? And the different personality styles I work with, there are particularly the introverts who do hold on to things, and as a result get internal types of illnesses and diseases and so on. You mentioned that you came off of medication. Were you actually on thyroid medication?
I'm still on a small dose of thyroid medication, but I came off the type 2 diabetes medication. I was put on metformin, but now it's completely controlled by, diet and mindset, basically.
Brilliant. Mindset is a huge undervalued, under-recognized area, because at the end of the day, where our mind goes, our body follows, doesn't it?
Exactly. And if you're in that place of balance, you've got more energy to do the things that are good for your body, and just really listening to your body is a really great start to doing that.
I'm always banging on about balance, but what's your version of being balanced?
Okay, my version of being balanced is body, mind, and spirit. So I am a Reiki master teacher. So it's about balancing those energy centers in your body. It's about moving your body as well, and eating the things that are good for your body. But again, with lots of people sort of immediately think that's awful, I don't want to eat salads all the time. And it's not about that. It's about balancing out what you have, and also being kind to yourself. So if you do something that you feel isn't right for you, you don't then dwell on that for days. It's about releasing that with other tools and techniques. I use emotional freedom technique as well, also known as tapping, and a whole load of other things around, meditation, mindfulness, but just really getting in touch with our own bodies, because you know what you need and you know how to do it deep down. It's just most people are out of touch with that.
I absolutely agree with that wholeheartedly. Our body gives us signals, our body tells us what it wants, and all we have to do is very simply give our body what it wants, and then it will heal itself. Doesn't matter,
it will help itself.
Exactly, absolutely. And then when you add mind techniques into the bargain, then you will heal a lot quicker. I find that with my clients, those who are holding on and just kind of very closed-minded, shall we say. They can't seem to let go of their emotions and old ideas that are probably not their ideas. It's how they were conditioned over the many years.
Exactly, and that's what a lot of the weight loss blockers that I've identified through looking at lots of different people who've worked on this and incorporating different things that I found myself. Those blockers that stop you from releasing that weight, or make you put it all back on again, are really deep seated in your subconscious. So we're driven by our subconscious, aren't we, on a daily basis? You don't think about getting in your car and driving it. You don't think about walking, about breathing. It's all on autopilot. And a lot of these triggers that we have from when we were younger, or how we see the world and how we see ourselves, is just sort of so deep rooted that you need other techniques, and you might not even know about them because it's in your subconscious until you start working on that. But I think it's really important that people are ready to do that before they come to me. It's no good coming to me and expecting me to wave a magic wand. It's about me guiding you through, as it probably is for lots of your clients. You're guiding them through their own journey, and that's at their pace, but equally they've got to be prepared to do the work on themselves.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was having this conversation with somebody only yesterday. I'm a multi-award winning health mentor these days, but I cannot do the work for you. We can guide the individual, but they have to roll their sleeves up. And so many people are just damn lazy, aren't they? They just want everything at the press of a button, pop a pill, and off they go. And
but I think that's society these days, isn't it?
It is, sadly, yes.
And sadly, it's okay, you can pop that pill, but that's usually just working on the symptoms. It's not working on the underlying causes of your disease or poor health.
Yeah, exactly. I work the other way around to what I call the white coats. They have their place, and it's great for diagnosis to some extent.
Absolutely.
But I've had a few clients recently who've actually been misdiagnosed. Two of them have an MS diagnosis, multiple sclerosis, and yet they are, through the testing that I do with clients, we've found that they're riddled with mineral imbalances and heavy metal toxicity, and all of those give rise to the same symptoms as MS.
Yes, and
chronic.
That's like lots of things, isn't it? And the worst thing is you're often put on pharmaceutical medications, and they have their own side effects.
Yes.
As well as what you're already experiencing. So yeah, I'm an aromatherapist as well. So I like to look at natural alternatives for things. I know nutritionists and that sort of thing, if people need help in that area, that I can refer to, but a lot of it is mindset.
Absolutely. There's so many collaborations now coming about. I don't do the mindset stuff, but I do the nutrition and the lab testing and so on. So maybe we should have another chat afterwards. But tell us about your story, Chris, because you have a story with a picture that you want to share.
Yeah, so our
listeners can't hear this, but yes, if you just share the screen briefly with your picture.
So this was myself 7 years ago, and this is myself today, but if you've got the screen you can see what I look like today anyway. So basically I had struggled for years and years with being overweight, always an overweight child, managed to slim down, put weight back on again. And this is me after I had my 2 children. I was an older mum when I had them, 43 and 45, and they're now 16 and 14. So I'm 60 this year. And my kids think I look older in this picture than I do now.
Yes.
But I was very overweight. As I say, I was diagnosed type 2 diabetes, had an underactive thyroid for many years, but the amount of thyroxine I take is reduced. And I'm still, you know, wanting to look at supplements and things to get off that medication completely, but it's never seemed to be the right time. But with regards to my weight, yeah, I started to work on my own mindset and looked into things that would cause me to hang on to that weight, and into my cravings, why I craved certain foods. We can go through those mindset blockers if we have time, Elaine, in a little while. But basically, I took a different view on this and managed to lose 63 pounds in weight and keep that off. And then after I had managed to do that myself, I put together a program that I have run for various people, a one-to-one program. Most people have, you know, 3 to 4 weight loss blockers. You can have them all. You might have one. But, you know, it just really depends when I work with people how many of those things they have as to how, you know, how long that takes to work through those things. But I have a basic program, I have a basic program that is a 12-week program to sort of work through things. And then if there's still a need to work with the client, I would go on to work with them after that as well.
What are the 12, not 12, 7, you said 7 blockers. What are the 7 blockers, Chris?
Yes, so let me just so there are, sorry, I'm trying to find my, I don't want to miss one out, so I was just going to refer to a document while I talk to you. So the one that is the major one, particularly for women, is I'm too sexy. So they don't want to be the center of attention. They don't want that. They don't want to have that attention that being slim and beautiful can bring them.
That's an interesting one.
It's a really interesting one, but that could be for all sorts of reasons. Obviously, they might have had unwanted attention in the past. They might not want to make their partner feel, you know, insecure, you know, all sorts of things. But that's usually the top. That's, you know, lots of people have that.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. What are some of the others?
So the others are feeling stuck in food. So cravings often come on. I've asked lots of people this question, and most people do have something that they find hard to have in the house. So I've said to lots of people, have you got a craving? They go, oh no. Is there something you don't buy? Oh yeah, well, I don't buy this, I don't have it in the house. Well, that's a craving. But it reminds you of good times usually, and that is something that, you know, if you're tired, you've had a bad day, you know, you reach for the chocolate biscuit or something. But when you work on that, you often find that goes back to a happy feeling of being secure as a child with your family, when you first remember having chocolate biscuit or chocolate cake. And it's about removing, I've got techniques to remove that emotion from the food. You might also stuff down emotions with binges. And people and places, dates can trigger that as well. So that part is about removing the emotion from the food. You don't want to make people feel bad. Maybe all your family has weight issues and you don't want to be the odd one out. But again, this is often running in your subconscious. You might go to a weight loss group with a group of friends, or that's what you talk about when you get together. And again, you don't want to be the odd one out. And also sometimes people have perceptions of slim people that just aren't true, but that's stuck in there from an early age, maybe how slim people were viewed in your family or amongst, again, a group of friends. Often people eat emotionally because they feel powerless. So what's the point? I might as well just do what I want. Or are unable to communicate their needs. They can't speak to their partner or their family about what they really need. So finding their own voice, which interestingly, when I've worked with people who happen to have thyroid issues as well, it's often about they can't speak their truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Every part of the body has attracts different kinds of things. So
Yes,
breast cancer, for example,
so
that's
interesting.
for bereavement. Not every case, of course, but very often within 2 years of somebody being bereaved, a breast cancer diagnosis pops up.
Yeah.
And then you've got lung cancer as well with grieving and so on. So there's lots
and
of
actually diabetes is another one. Type 2 diabetes is often diagnosed after family loss or
yes, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because our hormones and our whole body is all upside down when we go through these emotions, and if we don't process them properly. So it's great that you've got techniques that you can help people with this. Are there any other? Have we missed any?
Clean your plate. So you might have been told to clean your plate as a child.
Oh, yes.
So you can't, you just find it so hard to leave it. You know, food costs money. If there was, you got a sweet treat at the end of your meal, you had to sit at the table till you were finished, all those sort of things. Lack of food growing up is another. Your authority figure this is so interesting, Elaine. So your authority figure and your willpower. So if you had an authority figure in your life as a child or a teen that told you what to do and you were very rebellious, you actually rebel against that little voice in your head. Can't make me do that. I'm not doing that. And where you were if you were a pleaser, again, that's not a good thing, as well as being a complete rebel. And what beliefs did you make about those authority figures and how you viewed them can have an impact on that. And what happened last time? So if you did manage to lose, get down to how you felt happy in yourself, what happened? Was there some sort of relocation or dislocation in your life? Was there a divorce because your partner couldn't deal with that? Was there some verbal or physical abuse you underwent? So there's lots of those different aspects to what can make you hold on to weight. And once you start to clear those, it's interesting. So I've got a case study that I can just mention.
Yeah, sure, that'd be interesting. Yeah, because it brings it to life.
So there was an older lady, and she'd just lost her husband, and she came to me and she was dealing with the grief, and then she said, I can't stop eating everything out the cupboard. But it's only in the evening. She said, I have things in there like biscuits and cake and things for when people drop round for coffee. I've got lots of friends who just drop in, but I can't stop eating them, and it's in the evening. So anyway, we worked on this, and eventually a memory came up for her, and she must have been in her mid-60s of when she was a tiny child. So she was about 5 or 6. And in those days, parents weren't allowed to stay in hospital with you. So she was taken into hospital, and she was in there for some time. And they wouldn't let her mother visit because they thought that would be too traumatic when she had to leave. But her father could come in and visit her. And he used to bring a packet of biscuits in when he came to see her every day. And they would enjoy the biscuits together, and then he'd put them in a little nightstand thing by her bed. But the nurses would come and take them and have them with her tea overnight, because they knew they were, and I guess at the time, you know, nurses probably weren't paid very much, that, you know, and there was these lovely biscuits. But she was aware of that, even though they thought she was asleep. So it all came back to, in the evening, people came and stole the food. So she was eating it out of the cupboard, and that was running in her subconscious, because there was no one there to protect her, like her husband had passed away. And she had to, you know, her subconscious was just telling her to eat this food out the cupboard.
How did she stop it then? How did you help?
Once we dealt with that, we did some EFT on it, some tapping, and she managed to then stop doing it. We resolved the issues around the nurses and the emotions tied up with that, and you know, she just got a different perspective on that. So that's what it's about. It's not about, what I do is not about denying what happened. It's about changing your perspective and removing the emotion or the intense emotion from that event. And she was able to get past that and leave her goodies in the cupboard for when friends popped round.
Very good. I'm a bit like that though, but the way I deal with it is not to buy them, because I just eat them. I'm not very disciplined at all, so I'm very
I could work on those cravings with you.
Yeah. Well, I don't actually have cravings. It's just I don't know. Well, I suppose they are cravings, yes, the way you've described them. But I just because my diet from getting through the different cancers that I've had, I'm really particular about what I put in my body, and I'm very particular what I put in and on my body, you know, in terms of, you mentioned you're an aromatherapist. So even things like washing, I don't use any for washing up or laundry or anything like that. I don't use any chemical. Well, I don't have any chemicals, full stop.
In the house, no.
Yeah, the only naughty thing I do is lipstick. I can't find a natural lipstick that stays on. So apart from that, everything else.
I don't know if it's available where you are, but Tropic lipstick.
I wear Tropic. Yeah, I wear Tropic under eye thing, and brush my eyebrows in now because they've gone grey.
Right.
But their lipstick doesn't stay on me.
What, even the lip stain?
Oh, is that new then?
It's fairly new. It's literally, you can build up the colour to whatever you want. You know, keep applying it, but it stains your lips, so it doesn't come out.
Oh, that sounds a good idea. I'll have to look into that. They've just started delivering to Portugal. They weren't able to because of Brexit. We have all kinds of problems with deliveries here.
Oh, right. But yes, so the lip stain, if you look at
because
my eldest is actually quite severe celiac, so I have to use everything that's gluten-free, and you know, and all the products are gluten-free.
Yeah, brilliant. Marvellous. So how do people get hold of you, Chris?
So you can email me at eftcmm@gmail.com. If they want to just do that, then I can give them links to book in a discovery call with me. I have the 7 weight loss blockers. I can send them the link to that to sign up to get that, and they can go through that themselves and just see where they think they are.
Brilliant. And so what is your website?
My website is Christine, Christine, Michelle, Michele, Murray, MURRAY.com.
Marvellous. ChristineMichelleMurray.com, and Michelle one L, exactly. I looked up and I couldn't find you, and then I realised what I'd done. I put 2 L's in Michelle, which is the normal way of spelling it, but
But that's how it makes it unique to me. If somebody puts in my whole name on Google, there isn't another Christine Michelle Murray, but there's lots of Chris Murrays, unfortunately. So.
Right. All these marketing tricks that we need to learn about. So the 7 blocks, and so that's by emailing eftcmm@gmail.com.
That's
and
right.
then listeners will be able to get the list of the 7 blockers. Which
they'll just have to. That if they email me and ask for them, I can send them a link, and then they'll get it direct to there.
Okay, brilliant. And are they available on your website anyway, if they go to your website?
They're not at the moment, no.
Okay.
So I'm just having all my website revamped and stuff, so it's not as good as it could be at the moment.
Right.
So
I had the same
that for me.
Yeah, I have the same change. As soon as I think, oh, it's okay, then I've changed my mind and something else. I'll change this and change that. So yeah, hey ho. Right, lovely speaking with you, Chris, and well done on your 4 stone plus weight loss. That's actually about what I lost when I had stage 4 cancer, and I've never put it back on. It's always been.
But then you've taken care of yourself.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's our responsibility. We have to do it, and nobody can do it for us, and it's something that we both echo, isn't it?
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
to take responsibility. Lovely to speak with you, Chris. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.